Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a first look at the NBA board for PrizePicks. We're going to be taking a look at some of the single stat player props. So if you play on PrizePicks, or maybe you don't, maybe you have access to sports betting in your state, definitely stick around. We're going to be taking a look at real life points, assists, rebounds, and three-point makes for tonight's NBA slate. Now, yesterday's video, we struggled a little bit. There were some hits, but there were definitely some misses, so we're looking to improve on yesterday's overall record. And I forgot to mention rebounds yesterday. I promise you that will not happen today. But good news about today is that we surpassed 900 subscribers yesterday, so I appreciate your support. I'm going to set a goal on today's like count. Let's make it 30.5. You guys absolutely smashed yesterday. I was blown away by the amount of likes that you actually left on yesterday's video. So thank you very much for that. So today's goal, we're going to have to hit 31 or more likes. I'm setting the over. I'm taking the over on 30.5. So there you have it. Definitely subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Turn on notifications. I usually drop a video every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekends whenever I find time, but normally I like to try and unplug and not get burnt out on doing everything that I do for you guys. But without further ado, we've got a smaller size NBA slate today. So let's take a look at some news real quick, and then we'll start getting into some of the single stat player props. So big one here, James Harden hamstring out again Tuesday for the Brooklyn Nets. So he'll continue to miss time for Brooklyn. Kevin Durant also out Tuesday for the Nets. He's dealing with a thigh injury, so it's going to be on Kyrie Irving's shoulders. He's going to be the lead man here for the Brooklyn Nets once again. James Johnson, adductor injury. He is doubtful for the Pelicans on Tuesday. Looks like Nicholas Claxton, health protocols, is also out for the Brooklyn Nets on Tuesday. Let's see if there's any other news here that we need to talk about. I think that's probably about the biggest main news stories. All the stuff going on in Brooklyn. Yeah, not really seeing anything else that's really jumping out at me, but definitely stay plugged into the news if you can throughout the day, because sometimes we can get an advantage as players are ruled out or ruled in or whatever. So definitely works for us if we're on top of our game. So without further ado, let's talk about some single stat player props. I got a couple of guys that I want to talk about points, and the first one's going to be Trae Young as he takes on my Orlando Magic tonight. That game tips off at 7:40 p.m. Trae Young projected for 24.5 real life points. So we're going to start here at numberfire.com, where they offer free fantasy projections, projections for points, rebounds, and assists as well. So very nice little site here. And like I said, completely free. You can go and do this all yourself. So what I start to do is Control F, bring up a little search bar, and I'll type in Trae's first name, and you can see his name comes right up. Now, if you're on a Mac, use Command F, and then you could do that search function on your computer as well. Now, he is projected at 25 real life points tonight against Orlando. Of course, we know that Orlando not very good at guarding opposing point guards, shooting guards, probably one of their biggest weaknesses this season. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the game totals and spread here. So you see this game is projected to score about 218 combined points, but Atlanta is a 12-point home favorite. So got to put this one in the red zone. And what I mean by that is that there is a high blowout risk. There is a good chance that they will run away with this game, will Atlanta. So hopefully, Trae Young is a major contributor, a big factor as to why this game blows out. We need him to hit 25 or more actual points. So let's start digging into some of his recent averages and season averages, and we'll see if Trae Young makes any sense here on an overplay like I'm led to believe so far. So we're on NBA.com/players, and they got a ton of useful stats here. So I type in Trae Young's name into the search bar, up pops his name. I control click on his name, and up comes his player card. Now on his player card, you can see right here, first and foremost, for the season, his season scoring average is 25.4 points per game. So if we can just get an average scoring night out of Trae Young tonight, we will be in good shape. We just need him to hit 25 or more real life points. So we'll click the traditional splits link, advanced filters, go to season segment from all games, and change it down to the last 5 games so we could see how he's been performing in some of his recent game logs. And you can see that he's appeared in 3 games out of that last 5-game window. And in that time frame, he is averaging 30.3 real life points per game. So that puts him way above 24.5 where he's projected tonight. So not only are his season averages above 24.5, but his last 5-game averages where he's appeared in 3 of those games are over 30 as well. So I mean, man, I'm loving the way that this is shaping up here for a Trae Young over. Now, last but not least, our final site is rotowire.com, where they have an NBA player props board where we can type in any player that we want that's on today's NBA slate. And if there's a player prop up for him, we will find it. So I type in his first name, and you can see that DraftKings Sportsbook at 24.5 points. He's a minus 117 to go over. Now, the bigger the number, the better. So 117, not huge. Not a huge play for the over, but pretty good. Now, FanDuel, you can see that the sites are pretty much split here. They're torn. Minus 110 under, minus 110 over. So not really seeing any action on the over or the under. But if we scroll over here, BetMGM, they've got him at a minus 120 to go over 24.5 points. So even stronger position being taken over there. And then finally, PointsBet at 24.5. They got him as a minus 120 to go over there as well. So I'm loving the way things are shaping up here for Trae Young. The only knock against him is the fact that the spread is so large. It's a 12-point spread. So got to be very hopeful that he is a major reason why they blow out my Orlando Magic. So next, we're going to look at the other side of this game, and sticking with the points category, we're going to talk Orlando Magic forward Chuma Okeke. Now, Chuma Okeke has had some pretty good games here since the big trade went down where we shipped out Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, and Evan Fournier, but lately his role has been reduced as some of the players that we acquired in that trade have become healthy and they've been able to get back out on the court. So Chuma Okeke at 12.5 points, I think sounds like it's a little bit too high. It seems a little too high for me, but we're going to take a look and see if maybe going under on Okeke makes any sense. Now, his projection tonight is 11.7 points, which would put him under, which is a good first step in the right direction here on Chuma Okeke. So let's head on over to NBA.com. We will type in his name, and there's only one Chuma in the entire NBA. Very unique name. So we click on him, and you can see for the season, 7.3 points per game. So far, things are looking pretty nice on an under at 12.5 points on Okeke. Now we're going to click the Stats tab, scroll on down, click Traditional Splits, change this by going to Advanced Filters, go to all games and move it down to his last 5 games so we can get a better idea of how he's been performing in those last 5. Now, he's appeared in 4 out of those last 5 games, and he's putting up 11 points per game. So as I mentioned, he's had some big scoring outputs in the post-trade scenario for the Orlando Magic, but lately he has not been scoring so well. So 11 points puts him under 12.5 points, making the under still look like a very rock-solid way to go on Okeke. So last but not least, we're heading back to RotoWire. We're going to type in Chuma's name, and you can see that the various sports books have him up at 12.5, starting with DraftKings. At 12.5 points, people are taking the under. He's a minus 120 there. Now, over on FanDuel, not as strong of a position, but still the under looking like the favorite way to go there at 11.5. Now we move over to BetMGM, where they've got him at 12.5. Now, 12.5, people are taking the under there as well. So they're taking the under on 11.5. Then you better believe that they're taking the under at 12.5. So last but not least, PointsBet, not really seeing any action one way or the other on Chuma Okeke. But if we put everything together here and take a look at this holistically, the season averages for Okeke are below 12.5 points. His last 5 game averages are below 12.5 points. We see him on some of the sports books being taken at under 12.5 points. And to further validate things, we've got him on FanDuel Sportsbook at 11.5 points, where people are betting the under there as well. Now, that sounds like a perfect edge for me. That sounds like Chuma Okeke under points is definitely the way to go. So we've got that one in the books. Now let's see what else we've got going on here. as the sun from my window starts to shine through the rain, I have to adjust the lighting here. It gets a little too bright. But as you can see, assist category is going to be next. So let's move to that. And first guy I want to talk about, we got a couple of Atlanta Hawks, is going to be Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter's at 3.5 assists today. So let's take a look at Kevin Huerter's single stat player props and see if going assists is the way to go. So you go back to Number Fire, you click the assist column here, and it'll automatically highlight everything for you. Then we could just type in Huerter's name, and again, another guy with a very unique name. So he's at 3.6 assists. So I am leaning toward taking the over on Kevin Huerter today. We need him to get at least 4 dimes or more. And we've already talked about a soft matchup here for the Atlanta Hawks guards. So Kevin Huerter definitely in a good position to potentially hit the over on this today. We type in his name on NBA.com, control click, and up comes his player card. And then you can see for the season, he is actually right on the money at 3.5 assists per game. So if you think about it, the 3 assists, 4 assists on a spectrum here, he's usually right in the middle. I mean, you might as well just flip a coin and see what happens with Kevin Huerter. Let's see if maybe his last 5 game logs, if we could look at those averages, maybe it'll shape a different opinion for us here and give us a better idea on which way to go for Kevin Huerter in these assist categories. All right, so he's appeared in all 5 of his last 5 games, playing over 35 minutes, so that's very good. Now, his assists are actually at 4.6, so he has been dropping some dimes. And of course, with guys all around him like Bogdanovic, Trae Young, John Collins back in the lineup, Clint Capella. He's got some very talented scorers around him. This could definitely be a situation where he continues to go for 4 or more assists. So I'm liking the way things are shaping up on Kevin Huerter in this 3.5 assist prop. But we're not going to stop there. No, we're going to click the assist button here at the bottom, and we're going to take a look and see if they've got Kevin Huerter up on any of the sports books here. And yes, they do. On DraftKings, they've got him at 3.5 assists, and you can see that not really seeing any type of juice or action on the under or the over at 3.5 assists. Same thing with FanDuel right now. Nothing really popping on the under or the over for Kevin Huerter. And same thing with BetMGM. He's kind of just split here at a minus 115 under and a 115 over. So not really getting any help from Vegas. We're not really seeing any juice flowing for Kevin Huerter one way or the other, but I'm liking the season averages, and I'm liking the recent 5 game averages, and I think that there's a good chance he can drop 4 dimes against this pretty pathetic Orlando Magic team. I'm just gonna say it, and I can because I'm a fan, but yeah, we're pretty bad. So I like Kevin Huerter on the over on this 3.5 assist prop. All right, so let's talk about his teammate, Bogdan Bogdanovic. Bogey, 3.5 assists against the Orlando Magic. So Kevin Huerter, maybe not so clear as if we should go over or under, but maybe we can get a better, clearer picture here on Bogdanovic. Let's take a look. So actually, Bogdanovic right underneath his teammate Huerter here. Bogdanovic is at 3.5 assists for his projection today. So kind of the same situation with Huerter. He's like right there in between 3 and 4 assists. Of course, we need him to go for 4 if we're looking to take the over. If he goes for 3, we better hope we took the under on Bogdanovic. So let's take a look at some of his season averages and last 5 game averages and see if Bogdanovic makes any sense whatsoever going over, or maybe the under is definitely the way to go. So you can see for the season, 3 assists per game. That puts him under 3.5. So far, looking like the under might be the way to go to break this little tie of 3.5 assists. So we're going to click traditional splits, change it from the advanced filter section from all games to the last 5 games. We click run it. And in his last 5 games, he's appeared in all 5, playing 38 minutes, getting tons and tons of minutes. Now you can see his scoring is actually at 23.2 points per game. His assists are at 3.8. So I kind of like Bogdanovic more for like going over a points prop than I do an assist prop. I think he's going to get more buckets, and maybe Huerter gets more of the assists here. But let's take a look and see if Vegas agrees or disagrees with my take on this. Now at 3.5 assists on DraftKings Sportsbook, not really seeing any action over or under. 3.5 on FanDuel though, you can see that the over is the way that people are going with Bogdanovic and this 3.5 assist prop. And then finally, BetMGM at 3.5 assists. Seeing a little bit of a different take here. It looks like people are taking a different stance. They're going under on 3.5 assists. So I would say that Bogdan Bogdanovic and his 3.5 assist prop looks even more confusing than Kevin Huerter. I feel more confident probably taking the over on Kevin Huerter than I do on Bogdanovic. I think Bogdanovic is going to be more in that scoring role, and I could see Kevin Huerter being more in that assist or setup man type of role. So there you have it. Couple of Atlanta Hawks assist props for you. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is rebounds. Yes, somehow, I don't know how, I glazed over the rebounds. I had a couple of plays for you guys. They did not end up making it into the video, unfortunately. Sometimes things like that happen, but we're going to talk rebounds today. We got Julius Randle as the first guy I want to mention, and at 9.5 boards, I don't think they've got him high enough. I think 9.5 is a little bit too underweight. I think Julius Randle can definitely pull down 10 or more rebounds, but it doesn't matter what I think. I'm a numbers guy. I like to go and look at the projections, the averages, and really come to a conclusion based on statistics. So let's type in Julius Randle's name here. Now they got him up at 10.1 rebounds, which is fantastic because we need him to just pull down 10 boards if we're looking to target the over in this one. Now before we go any further, let's talk game totals and spread here. Totals not fantastic in this game. Actually just 208 combined points. That's kind of low. I'm not going to, beat around the bush here. That's a pretty pathetic game total, implied game total. Now, New York is a 6-point favorite at home here. So the risk of a blowout is maybe there, but I'd put this probably in a yellow in terms of blowout risk. I think it stays pretty close and competitive for the most part. So not too worried about anybody blowing anybody out here. I think these two teams are pretty evenly matched. New York might have the edge here. Charlotte is dealing with some injuries. So Julius Randle on the over looking like a good way to go based on the projections on NumberFire. Let's type his name in here on NBA.com. We'll switch things over to his player card, and you can see that for the season, 10.5 rebounds per game. So again, another indicator that going over on Julius Randle at 9.5 rebounds is definitely a good look. So we'll click the stats category here, click traditional splits, click advanced filters. Change the season segment from all games to 5, click run, and we'll get a 5-game report on Julius Randle and how he's been rebounding the ball lately. Ooh, a little bit of a red flag here. His rebound average has dropped down to 8.2 boards in his last 5 games. Playing a ton of minutes, over 41 minutes per game, but man, these rebounds coming up a bit short here. So I can see why they've got him at 9.5 boards, but I think that this is a good spot for him to bounce back and get closer to those averages of 10.5 for the season. So let's click the rebound button over here on RotoWire. We'll type in Julius Randle's name and up he comes. And then on DraftKings Sportsbook, you can see they've got him at 9.5. And at 9.5, people are smashing the over, minus 134, over 9.5 rebounds. Loving the way that's looking. FanDuel, minus 122 on 9.5 rebounds. BetMGM, a minus 133. And the same for PointsBet, minus 133 over there too. So guys, I am liking the way things are shaping up. He pulls down over 10 rebounds per game for the season averages. Yeah, there's a little bit of a knock against him tonight because of his last 5-game rebound averages. Looking a little bit underweight there, but I think this is a good spot for him to bounce back. And then finally, looking at Las Vegas and the various sports books out there, every sports book that we have here up on the screen, all 4 of them think that he is going to go over 9.5 boards. So I'm sticking with it. The over on Julius Randle rebounds is looking quite nice. All right, and then on the flip side of this game, we've got Terry Rozier. He is in a much larger role now. Of course, Gordon Hayward, he's injured. LaMelo Ball, although reports are he may be coming back in the next week or two, he is currently out for the Charlotte Hornets. So guys like Terry Rozier have taken on a much larger role. And 4.5 rebounds tonight. Let's take a look at it and see if maybe we should go under, maybe we should go over. We'll find out right here, right now. So we'll do another little search for Terry Rozier's name just to find him a little bit quicker. And you can see that his projected rebounds are at 4.5. So it is a deadlock here with the PrizePicks folks. He is at 4.5 rebounds on both PrizePicks and on Number Fire. So not really able to reach a conclusion based on that. Let's see if maybe his averages for the season and his last 5 games tell a little bit of a different tale. You can see for the season, 4.2 rebounds. I would actually put him under tonight's projection of 4.5. So that means that between 4 rebounds, 5 rebounds, he's leaning more toward the 4 rebound side of things. We need him to be up around 5 tonight or more if we're looking to take the over. So again, we're going to dig into his last 5 games and take a look at those. We'll click run it, see what happens. All right, so in that 5-game window, he's appeared in 4 of those games. And in that time span, he is actually averaging 6.8 rebounds per game. So his rebounds are trending up versus his season averages, which is a very good sign in my eyes. I like the way that looks. Very good. Now we're going to switch things over, go over to RotoWire. We're going to type in Terry Rozier's name. And at 4.5 boards on DraftKings Sportsbook, it looks like people are taking the over. He's a minus 117, so a slight edge to the over. Not seeing any juice one way or the other over on FanDuel. On BetMGM at 4.5, people are hitting the over more aggressively. He's a minus 125 over there, and he's a minus 125 over on PointsBet. So I'm sticking with it. I think that based on his last few games, based on the way that the juice or the action is flowing here on the various sports books, that going over on this 4.5 rebound prop for Terry Rozier is definitely a good look and a good way to go. So I'm sticking with it. Terry Rozier over 4.5 rebounds. All right, so we did not forget rebounds today. We definitely got those into today's video. The last single stat prop we're going to take a look at is 3-pointers made, and I got a couple of interesting cats to talk about. The first one's going to be Kyrie Irving. Now, Kyrie Irving is taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans, not so great against opposing guards. I think Kyrie Irving's got a good chance here, especially as the number 1 option for the Brooklyn Nets tonight to go over 2.5 3-point makes. So we need him to hit at least 3 3-pointers or more for this prop to work out in our favor. So let's take a look at Kyrie Irving starting at NBA.com. We'll type his name in here. Open up his player card. Now you're not going to get 3-point results from the initial player card here. You got to actually dig in a little bit deeper. So if you click stats, click traditional splits, then you can see that for the 2021 season, he's attempting 7 3-pointers per game, and on those 7 attempts, he's averaging 2.7 makes, which means that more often than not, he's making at least 3 3-pointers than he is leaning more toward the 2 3-point makes. So I like the way that that's shaping up so far. So we're going to click Advanced Filters, change the game segment over to 5 games, click Run, and you can see that for the last 5 games, his 3-point attempts are down to 6, and his makes are down at 1.8. Now, Kevin Durant has been in the lineup for the majority of these last few games. I think maybe even for all of them. But I expect with Kevin Durant and James Harden both out for the Nets tonight that these 3-point attempts will go up, and I hope that these 3-point makes will also go up. So last but not least, we're going to head back to RotoWire. We're going to check out Kyrie Irving. And at 2.5 3-point makes on DraftKings Sportsbook, he's a minus 125 for the over. That's looking very nice. Now, even better, FanDuel, they've got him at 2.5 makes, and he's at a minus 140. So that's a huge position that people are taking on his 3-point prop tonight. And then finally, BetMGM, minus 118, and then PointsBet, we're not seeing any action one way or the other there. So I'm going to roll the dice here. I think without KD, without James Harden, and Kyrie Irving being the lead guy here against New Orleans, that this is a good situation for him to go over 2.5 3-point makes. The action in the various sports books are looking very good and in our favor, and his season averages are also at 2.7 3-point makes. So that puts him over 2.5 and gets us closer to that 3 number, which is where we want to be on the over for Kyrie Irving, 3 or more. So there you have it. Now the last guy, I think this is an absolute layup. Now, I know we're talking 3-point makes, but man, this just looks too good. That's why I call it a layup. And what I mean is Buddy Hield taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight at 10:10 p.m. He's at 3.5 3-point makes. Now, anytime I can get Buddy Hield under 4 3-point makes, I'm going to take the over here. I don't think 3.5 is enough. This guy just shoots way too many threes, and he makes a pretty good clip. So I'm looking to take the over on Buddy Hield here. Let's dig into his game logs and stuff. Let's first look at the game totals. Looks like we got 238 implied points with Sacramento as a 3.5-point favorite at home. Massive totals. Loving the way that's shaping up. And the fact that this game does not project to be a blowout is even better. That is the cherry on top for me. So great start here for Buddy Hield. Now let's take a look at his season averages and his last 5 game averages. So we go into stats, traditional splits. Now you can see for the season, he is averaging a massive 10.4 3-point attempts per game. And on those 10.4 attempts, he is making 4 per game, 38%. So pretty great amount of attempts and good percentage in terms of makes. So that is a great number. The 4 is definitely more than 3.5, which is why I say if we get him at 3.5, we should always try to take the over there. Now let's move on down the line here. You can see in his last 5 games, his attempts are down at 9, but his makes are also down at 3.3. I'm not too worried about that, especially not in this matchup with the totals being what they are. This matchup against Minnesota is a soft matchup. I think there's going to be plenty of shots going up on both sides of this thing, truthfully. But let's type in Buddy's name and look at the various sports books and see how things are shaping up here. Now, DraftKings, they got him up at 3.5, and at 3.5, he is getting smashed on the over. Minus 141 on the over. Loving the way that is shaping up here. FanDuel at 3.5, minus 136 on the over. And last but not least, guys, PointsBet at 3.5 3-point makes. He is a massive minus 150. I don't know what else you want. This is looking like a lead pipe lock, dare I say. Buddy Hield over. I mean, I don't see how you would take the under on Buddy. It's just too risky. I'm absolutely taking the over here. So you guys let me know in the comments section, who are you liking from today's video? I think my favorite standouts are probably Buddy Hield over the 3.5 3-point makes, and probably Julius Randle over those 9.5 rebounds. So those are probably going to be my locks of the day. You guys drop a comment below. Tell me who you're liking. Tell me if there's maybe a guy that we didn't talk about in today's video that their prop stands out to you and why. I love hearing your feedback. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember our goal today of the likes, just like away. Let's see if we can get over 30.5 likes on today's video. And I appreciate you all for subscribing and turning on those notifications. I hope tonight's video helps you out. I hope you win some money. For now, this is CJ for Out of Bounds. Good luck tonight, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.